Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for hole number 10 to hole number 18, the back 9 of the college playoff 18-hole cup for pro and expert division. These are general wins for Southern Pines and for the Juniper Point. If you're looking to get a more detailed adjustment for the tournament wins, if you play expert and also master for that matter, then scan the QR code on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the link in the description down below. Once you get there, you sign up to any package. You will then have access to the text guide, to videos with voiceover, but also our Telegram support system. If you do enjoy the free content I do here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on the video and then subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Last but not least, you do have the info box on the right hand side here. There we go. And there you can find the information about what club and ball we suggest you to play with, and also what type of adjustment we like you to use. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 10. Hole 9 is a very difficult one, especially when it comes to headwind. And now we strongly advise you to play with a power 4 plus ball, this to avoid having to go with a lot of overpower, especially for the lower level clubs. Now we're setting up at the bottom of +9 with a poke 5 plus, a poke 4, bottom of +15. We're adding the spins, second bounce centered on the left fairway pad. A poke 5 plus adjusts max +10 P4. A poke 4 plays max +15 minus 0.1. One ring plus whatever we adjust into. So if you don't adjust into overpower, we use one ring. And then we get down the fairway, looking to be somewhere between 370 and 380 yards. So it's mainly the drive where we do need some power. The second shot, we do have a lot of room, and therefore we are continuing playing with our sniper. We're going to, in this case, use our landing position plus yardage here as our reference. You can see here that we're using 2.5 backspin and 2 left spin. And we want, if anything, favor right side of the hole. Adjust is gonna be 20% elevation with 68% slider from +3 and 4 with sniper 10, which is the same as +5 and 6 for sniper 9. Just before circle drop and plus whatever we adjust into, if anything, it's gonna be mainly nothing, but if we get to adjust into OP, we need to obviously use that as well. Very difficult par 5 here with headwind. Play with any power 4 plus ball, side spin 2 plus, wind 3 plus, so there is loads of balls to choose between, but difficult one nonetheless. For hole number 4, here you can play with any power 3 plus, side spin 2 plus, wind 3 or wind 4 ball. Start at the top of +10 for a poke 5 plus, and for a poke 4 you start at max P3 line, which is +16. 3.5 top spin and 2 left spin. Finding the position with the ball guideline as shown. And now either you push the rings or you zoom out so you get a clear view for the adjustment. So adjust max +10 P3. So even if you play with a P4 or P5 ball, you're adjusting with P3 numbers all the way through. Center the ball and hit perfect. Bounce on the fairway and rolls nicely straight down the fairway up to approximately 360 yards. Second shot, we play this one with -10% elevation. This because, as you can see, we're playing it uphill. So we are using one backspin and playing rings from min. And now, have in mind here that we do have a special table in the guide to make it as simple as possible to follow when it comes to the rings from min. And always when it comes to range from min, try to speed it up a little bit, because pushing up is and can, I would say, can be a little time consuming sometimes. So now the standard thing is that we're pushing up somewhere between 13 to 17 rings, and then we shall always play 15% slider, and with then minus 10% elevation P3 numbers. We're pulling over the bullseye as well, as per default. That's what we always do here when it comes to the shot. Now center the ball, hit perfect, and this should be a good chance to drop. Hole number 7, we are playing from the main line here when we do have a headwind and a crosswind. I would recommend to actually go for a rough bump if you do have a tailwind. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult, as you will most likely be in between clubs. So here I'm using 2.9 right spin and a little bit of top spin. The spins will most definitely vary depending on what wind angle you have. And the aim point is once again at min line, red ring by the rough line. Pushing the rings because, you know, the hill slope or whatever we want to call it is definitely making it tough to pull the rings. Min, no elevation is what I'm adjusting in this particular video. And once again, you know, just because I'm adjusting that in this particular wind angle doesn't mean that that will be exact for other wind angles, etc. Bounce on the fairway, and the ball comes up onto the green and dropping almost dead center for the hole in one. So for hole number 3 in the 9-hole cup, here we're gonna play with a power slice, and we're gonna use a 4 top spin, 2 right spin. I'm gonna use a tight. You see, I'm stretching out to be just to the left of the brown rough patch there by all the trees. Max overpower, max curl to the right, and then full slice to the right. The idea here is to get the ball as far down to the right possible. You may be wondering, why do complicate it so much to go with a power slice? It's because I would say that's the only way to get to where we are now, and therefore the only way to get ourselves into a very good chance for an albatross. Let's say that you have headwind from tee, you can't play this type of shot, you're gonna have to then play just straight down the fairway and then transport the ball to green with a cataclysm or a big dog to make sure that you secure the eagle. So it's only gonna be an eagle play if that's going to happen. But if we do have tailwind, once again, we can play the drive that I showed on screen, and then we get ourselves in a super good chance for an albatross. Measure the club distance to get the correct club distance here, and we're going to play this with 20% elevation. You see here now, I'm measuring the club distance to see what type of range I'm in. I position myself here on the fairway. I'm not using any spin for this shot. You can obviously use backspin or topspin if you would like, but I like to play without any spins if I have room to do that, because it gives me a very natural first and second bounce, and that is easier for me at least to read. Once again, 20% elevation, center the ball, hit perfect, and this is going to be a super good chance for an albatross. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Can we get it? We can. Swirl it in from the right and 180 in the hole. I will take that all day and every day on a tough par 5, such as the Southern Pines. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament Text Guides for the College Playoff 18-hole cup. We are doing an Ultimate Tournament Text Guide for Expert and Master Division. This for all the players that do have an active Patreon package with us. It doesn't matter what level you have, you will get access. So if you do want to try out the objectively seen best guides on the market, make sure to sign up on patreon.com/golf-tommy. Link in the description down below, or scan the QR code. For both of the divisions, we are going to do free-to-play ball alternative and paid ball alternative. Not just for max clubs, because we do cater to lower level clubs as well. You will also get access to videos with voiceover. You will also get access to our Telegram support system where we are helping and teaching players every single tournament. So don't miss this opportunity. Sign up and try for yourself and see how you can improve your game. For hole number 7 of the Southern Pines, here we are playing on the left-hand side. If you do have a really nice and good going tailwind, you can actually bounce over the water on the right-hand side. The difficult part with the right-hand side is obviously the water, but also that the green slopes massively downhill. And there is a risk to get into a situation where you do have an impossible putt, and that would suck so much. And that's obviously not what we want to have. But with some risk, there is definitely some reward as well, that you can be on the green or just by the green for a simple eagle. And now we lay up, we go left-hand side, adjust 10% elevation with true club distance. So in this case, we are roughly at mid-distance with our epoch, and that's what we're using as well. Don't have to play with a king slayer if you don't want to. You can play with a regular kingmaker and obviously other ball types, as the intention is purely to bounce over the rough and the sand, to have a consistent rollout without really flirting with any bunkers or rough whatsoever. Second shot, we are using our long iron here. Here's up to you to decide what long iron you want to play with as well, obviously. Grizzly level 9 or level 7 plus, I would say, is a perfect club to use. You can also use B52 level 7 or 8. The reason I'm saying a high level B52 and Grizzly level 7 plus is because it has a good ball guideline. Both of those sorts of clubs with those levels do have 4.5 ball guideline, and that will help immensely in terms of trying to aim here. Now, either you go for a ball to roll back down the green like that, or you're going directly at the pin with your ball guideline. That's completely up to you. It depends on what you feel works really well. At the end of the day, we're obviously looking to settle in for an eagle here, because this is a par 4 where there will be players shooting an eagle. The bounce on the fairway, up the bank, and then it falls down, and if we're a little bit lucky, get the ball to drop for the eagle. If we do have a tailwind on hole number 1, we are going to send it and get ourselves to green. That could also be done if we do have a straight crosswind, but what complicates it is that when we do have a headwind, then we're going to have to lay up on the right hand side, playing an NMT with a P2 ball, adding spins, adjustment max plus 10 P3. Once we have adjusted, we're going to center the ball and hit perfect. So even if we did adjust into overpower, we are not adding any overpower in this situation. Bounces on the fairway, gets down nicely, and we want to keep ourselves to favor the left-hand side of the fairway, because the second shot here now is going to be played from more or less min line. I'm putting mid in the info box due to the fact that it could vary if you have a great right or you're just aiming more right to not flirt with that rough. But the idea here is to go for a rough bump. This rough bump here is pretty big when it comes to playing with such an accurate club like the Grizzly. Obviously, having the correct adjustment from start is a massive help, and make sure to not add a bunch of additional OP or UP or something like that. That could cost you a lot. 10% elevation, and here it's all about what pin check or frame check you have, or it's just true club distance. Perfect ball it is. We bounce into the rough, rolls down the green, and we're dropping this one dead center for a beautiful eagle here to start with on hole number 1. Hole number 9, generally pretty boring, where we do lay up on the left and then play ourselves down towards the green. But if there is a tailwind, you can push and get yourself into wedge range. And as we do have tailwind only for the California Ultimate Tournament, I wanted to display this type of play, which once again gonna have to be used some practice for this, trying to obviously perfect it. Now I'm just pinging a ball, being a little bit lucky. Otherwise, if you're trying to lay up, I would play max plus 15 in terms of my club distance and adjustment. But here, getting ourselves to almost 500 yards, that will leave us a wedge, and obviously that will be making the Albatross much more makeable than if we wouldn't be having that type of wind. So Again, hole number 9 with tailwind is not as bad from the second tee. It's when you do get the headwind, you do get the crosswind when it's going to be very complicated. But in the end, take advantage of the tailwind, enjoy, blast it. If you like, there's obviously risk with that too, that you get into the rough, you get into the sun, and then that might just end up in the eagle. But even though if you're blasting it, in my opinion, you shall have no problems at all to get yourself to the green in 2 to save the eagle. Hole number 8 of the Southern Pines can be played in many different ways in my opinion. One way of playing is to go directly onto the green using backspin and attack the pin. I do think that's the safest way of playing this hole. I'm not saying it's going to be the best way all the time, but many of the times it will be the best play because we obviously take away a bunch of bounce overs over the stupid bunkers and the roughs and stuff like that. So it really is taking away a lot of obstacles from play. Now, backspin and right spin and getting the ball, the aim to be on the green with the ball guideline through the hole. Adjust 10% elevation is what's being used here. And here you can see using a little bit of overpower as well, which is just before circle drop as overpower. This to compensate for the headwind, as it's otherwise going to land further back than what we want to. And it lands a little bit further back still than what we aimed, and the ball rolls down beautifully into the hole. Like I said, this is just one way of playing this particular hole. You can bounce over the bunkers with curl and a lot of side spin and stuff like that. So there are many ways of playing this particular hole nowadays compared to what it once were. Mainly as we now have many different type of golf balls accessible that we didn't have in the past. Hole number 9 of the Southern Pines. This is a long par 5, a pretty boring par 5, I would say. Here we would benefit immensely by having a power 10 ball to be used. In this instance, we are going to bounce over the bunker and the rough there in the middle, trying to get as far down the fairway possible. The further down we get, the better it's going to be, because we will be having a better angle. Now, I cannot stress enough how much of an advantage this type of hole will be if you do have higher level clubs and also being able to use a good ball. If you do have lower level clubs and are limiting yourself to, let's say, power 6 balls, this hole will be really complicated to consistently making an eagle, because we need to have in mind that we're not just going to have tailwind all the time. We're going to have some crosswind, we're going to have some headwind, and that's going to be really problematic. Once we do get down with the drive, we are using max plus 10 as the adjust. We are around 440 yards. Now for the second shot, here you can make a decision. We always make decisions, but in this type of scenario, we can either go for the hole doing an albatross attempt, or we are going right side of the rough, just landing the ball onto the green. If your intention is to go for a safe eagle, I would say play with the sniper. That gives you a better accuracy and a better ball guideline. If you do want to go for the albatross, and if you're not having distance enough, the Cataclysm is most definitely a good club to use. Second shot with no elevation as the true elevation. Have in mind though that elevation will definitely fluctuate depending on what type of play you're doing. So don't steer yourself blind on the 0 there. So make sure to kind of be adaptable, that you can make some changes and some switches to adapt to the type of play that you are deciding to play. If everything goes well, we clip the rough, we roll up onto the green, and in this case, we are missing just on the right-hand side, but at least we give ourselves a chance for the albatross. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough with general win for Pro and Expert Division for the back 9 of the College Playoffs 18-hole cup. We are playing a mix of the Juniper Point and the Southern Pines. If you're looking to improve your game even more, we are doing an Ultimate Tournament Text Guide for Expert Division. Scan the QR code here on the screen, or go directly via the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy that you do have in the description down below. Sign up today and get yourself an advantage. Last but not least, I wish you the best of luck in the College Playoffs tournament.